Breaking news, you're looking live here, the Roosevelt Room inside the White House, where President Joe Biden expected now any moment to walk out the door and give comments regarding the collapse of the bridge in Baltimore. Obviously a tragedy. People were on that bridge just going on their morning commute when a ship lost power, had a Mayday call, but it was not in time to get people evacuated off that bridge. Right now, the bridge is still shut down. It is the very iconic Francis Scott Key Bridge, also a major port there in Baltimore. So as the search and rescue continues, we know Pete Buttigieg will be heading to the scene. The NTSB expected to speak as well. And again, President Joe Biden should be coming up momentarily. It looks like he's just a little bit late. We'll monitor that for you as well. Well, a big development out of House oversight. They're putting some big pressure on Attorney General Merrick Garland, threatening to hold him in contempt of Congress if he does not turn over unredacted materials related to the investigation into Joe Biden's handling of classified documents. Representatives James Comer and Jim Jordan want the unredacted audio and transcripts from special counsel Robert Hur's interviews, and the deadline is April the 8th. Joining us now, a member of Oversight, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, a pleasure to have you in. Thanks for joining me.
It's good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Well, obviously, when Hur testified in front of Congress and the transcript was released just a few hours before, really didn't, give you guys weeks to dig through it. Some are wondering, some of the comments, it would be very impactful to actually hear Joe Biden's voice on them. As you mentioned, the audio recordings, they still haven't been released because some say you could actually hear if there was some confusion, and it may point to the mental cognitive issues. Do you think you'll get your hands on them, or will it be contempt of Congress next step for Merrick Garland?
Well, let's be clear about one thing. Merrick Garland and the entire Department of Justice has been stonewalling and protecting Joe Biden. They've been protecting Hunter Biden. They've been protecting the Biden family. We're going to do everything we can to get our hands on those audio recordings. And it's important for oversight to have this information because we are responsible for looking at everything that happens throughout the federal government, same as the Judiciary Committee. For Robert Hur and frankly for Merrick Garland, to hold this information from Congress is ridiculous. There is no special privilege to that information, to an audio recording, especially considering the fact that Robert Hur in his own report said that he wasn't filing charges. Yeah. So that information should be readily available to the Oversight Committee and to the Judiciary Committee. But once again, Merrick Garland is carrying the water for Joe Biden to protect Joe Biden.
Well, you have a stunning revelation about how deep all of this goes to, and there's a report now from House Oversight that links the CIA to preventing interviews with the IRS to Hunter Biden's sugar daddy. That's Kevin Morris. We've seen him show up on Capitol Hill several times with Hunter now. And Congressman Donalds, this is pretty stunning. Basically, whistleblowers have come forward to your committee and saying, yes, we were going to interview him, but the CIA called for these emergency meetings at Langley. Fill in our audience of why you think the CIA would want to stop an IRS investigation into Hunter Biden if this is just about unpaid taxes.
Well, look, I don't want to speculate too much. There's a lot of information we have to get from the CIA and frankly from the FBI and Main Justice on this matter. But let's be very, very clear. If you have CIA agents interfering in a federal investigation, who actually made that call? Who asked for the CIA to be involved? And if you're going to speculate about anything, it's does somebody at the White House know about this? Whether it was the former chief of staff, Mr. Klain, the White House counsel, or the president of the United States himself. You do not typically have the CIA engaged in a domestic investigation into tax evasion. Something is going on. We have to get to the bottom of this. And this is not just they want to go after Joe Biden. This is serious. You have the CIA interfering with a federal investigation. Congress must investigate this, and we got to figure out what's happening here because these kind of things cannot continue in our government.
It's also within your congressional power and what you sign an oath to do. I mean, you are oversight. This is what you are supposed to do. How concerned are you? I mean, you can only do this stuff and you still get stonewalled. But when you have the majority in the House, we talk about all the things you were able to uncover in this weave of tens of millions of dollars. But we have had a wave of retirements of the GOP House. Are you concerned, especially with, Gallagher's recent departure and having after where you could even fill his seat with a special election? Many are worried about the very slim balance of power in the GOP. What do you think's behind this massive wave, Congressman?
Well, I'm very concerned about it. I haven't talked to Mike Gallagher, not sure why he chose the date he's choosing to leave, but it does put us in a bad spot. I mean, look, you can go as far back as when Kevin McCarthy was vacated. There have been some members on Capitol Hill who have basically just thrown up their hands. I think that's wrong. I think that if you're going to run for office, you have a responsibility to your district to stay and finish that job until the end of your term and then make another decision. You can choose not to run for re-election. There are members that do that all the time. I think leaving in the middle of your term is a serious, serious matter. We're going to get through this like we've gotten through everything else. And then we're going to move on to the November elections, because at the end of the day, even though our numbers have dwindled over the last couple of months, it is far better than if Hakeem Jeffries was Speaker of the House, because you would have the most radical agenda being moved through Congress on top of the crazy agenda that Joe Biden's brought to America. So I think we're going to be okay.
Congressman Byron Donalds, always a pleasure to have you. Appreciate your comments. Keep us posted on what you find out about the CIA's involvement there. Very critical issue. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Very quick break. We'll be back with more.